Welcome back, guys. So as you can see, here's the short block that we built the last time, and today we're going to build this out into a long block. So I'm here with Frank again, and we're going to get to work putting this thing together. This is our 2007 for the Manx build. So let's get started today. I'm going to take the camera from Frank, and he's going to get to work. So, Frank, we are back again.
Here we are.
And today, I guess we're going to start with flywheel.
First thing we're going to do is, set the end play on the flywheel. Here's how we do it. Okay, so you got your flywheel end play. You're going to use shims, use 3 shims. And you know that your end result has got to be 3 or 4 thousandths. That's the happy place. What I do is I use 2 shims to start with. I'm using 2 12s. And I'll put 2 on there. And then I'll grab my flywheel over here.
And you're starting with 2 because you know you're going to need a third, so this is going to get you sort of in the ballpark of what you need.
Yep.
Is that it?
I'm going to need 1 more, and then I'm going to measure this, and it's going to tell me, what I need to add to come up with my 3 thousandths.
Gotcha.
So then you got to find your SPG, your little...
That offset dowel.
There it is. I think.
I guess it doesn't hurt to mark it so that you can go right back to it every time.
It's a great idea to do.
Let's not do it.
Yeah, let's not do it. That's a great idea. Put that on there.
And then to get your reading, you obviously got to torque
Got to
that
torque
gland
it
nut
down
down.
to the right. Yeah.
Which is what, like 230 foot-pounds?
I
Or
think
250.
the old torque meister says,
There you go.
I think it's 225 or 270. I always go higher.
Okay.
I always go 270. And if you don't have a torque master and you plan on doing flywheels,
You're in for it.
You got to get yourself one of those.
Yeah.
They are unbelievable. It's like the best Volkswagen invention ever.
Yeah, I got one of those too.
They're so...
It's also good.
So much easier.
It's also good for axle nuts too.
Yeah, axle nuts. You can do 4 or 5 lugs. Getting them big old axle nuts off. You got to have one. They're...
Yeah, it's like you kind of can't do it without that.
As a kid, all my life, I'm doing it without it.
Really?
It sucked.
Did you ever use those things where you just got to hammer on them to...
On the axle nuts?
On axle nuts,
totally,
yeah.
Totally. That's how I grew up. And then, these, breaking off a flywheel was just nightmares.
Yeah.
You wedge half of your engine underneath the side of your car, and you jump up and down with a breaker bar, and it was terrible.
See, as we get older, we buy the proper tools to do the job the right way.
And they're really not that expensive. The cost of this thing will save you so many headaches.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah, you don't want to do it, I'm telling you. So it's that, and then Torque Meister says you want to do 30 pounds.
And that'll get you to the
30 pounds gives you 270.
270.
And I've already set my torque meister.
Okay.
So it's super easy. Keep it flat. It's 11 millimeter or 7/16.
Mm-hmm. It's going to click off anytime.
Almost.
There you go.
So
you're there, and that was simple.
yeah, that is 270 foot-pounds, supposedly. So that's that.
So now you're going to check your end play, basically,
And play with 2 shims in there.
and see what we need.
12,000. So I have 24,000 shim in there. And this is how I do it.
Little magnetic dial reader.
Yeah, it just makes I'm simple. Makes it so you can read it. Put it on there. Oh, here, I'll rotate it down. Maybe.
Yeah, that's perfect, Frank.
Pull it out. And just give yourself like a set, something to reference from.
So you're going to basically just clock it at 0.
0. We're at 0. And then you push it in. Clunk.
Yep, there you
And
go.
it went 20, damn near 20. So 19 thou, 20 thou. That's it. So now we know I need 20 thou shim.
Okay.
Well,
you need a little bit less because you need like end play of what?
Yeah.
3?
Yep, 3. So I need 17 thou, 16 thou-ish.
So now we're going to reverse the process and pull the flywheel off and shim it. So we'll
Yeah,
come
now
back
you
after
take it.
we've done that.
Right.
Okay, so now we've installed that 3rd shim, Frank, and now we're going to just verify that we've got...
Double check we have the end play that we want.
So we're going to bring dial indicator back
Same
out.
old thing. These make it really easy. This dial indicator, another clamp. Make it really easy to see what you want.
So right at 0 there.
0-ish. I don't know how close you really want it. 0. Bump it. About 3.
That looks good.
If you push it, you get 4, but 3 is where it's sitting free.
And that's totally acceptable.
And don't get no better than that.
Okay.
That's it.
So now we're going to pull it all back off, right? Because
all back off again.
we got to install the rear main seal.
Install the seal.
So the flywheel portion is done. So we'll come back after we've got the rear main seal queued up to go in. Okay, so flywheel's back off. You can see shims are in there. So now we're going to clean this up a little bit and start putting in the rear main seal, right, Frank?
Yep. There's a lot of little processes you do to put it in there. I like to clean the oil out of this, the threads inside it, the machining oil, if it didn't get out earlier.
I mean, we've cleaned this several times already, but it doesn't hurt to just be safe.
Yeah, because sometimes I use Loctite on here. Sometimes if it's oily and dirty, your Loctite won't go off right. And
That's a whole other problem.
To come off.
Yeah, I don't want the flywheel to come off either.
So I'll do this. I'll prep everything with. I always put a little bit of oil on my flywheel seal or my shims. I just don't want them running dry. And then when I install the seal, I put a little bit of red grease on here, or just any kind of grease, really, just a real thin coating to slide it in. Some guys do it dry. Some guys will actually put sealant on there. But it's such a tight fit. I don't want it to snag, and the actual pressure of it, diameter-wise, it seals like a champ. So a little bit of grease is not going to hurt anything.
Okay.
And if I ever had problems with it, I wouldn't grease it. So it works well.
Well, I think you've done enough motors to know that if you're going to have a problem, it would have happened in the 80s and not now.
I had problems happening, but it wasn't these.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's all I'm going to do here.
Okay, so let's do that.
Okay. Just a little bit, too. It doesn't really... I mean, you don't got to...
It doesn't take much.
No. It gets messy. Get grease.
That's why you're doing it and not me, Frank. Notice the guy with the camera's got the clean hands, right?
Sure does.
Yeah.
So that's that. A little bit of my goop on the bearings, just because... On the bearings on this.
On the shims there. Yeah, that's one thing I think a lot of people miss is just getting assembly lube pretty much on anything that's in there rotating. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Especially because initial startup is just so hard on these things. You don't want to get metal on anything if you can avoid it.
You don't want anything to be dry,
Yeah.
It helps if you have fingernails.
Yeah, that helps too.
Just, get them, just oil it.
Just a little bit.
Grease on the surfaces of them. Yeah. It's not too hard to do. Okay, so we're all back on there. And you put the shims on first before, I mean, you can do it later, but before you put your seal on.
Yeah, I guess it's probably smart to do it that way because you could fit this shims in, but why take a risk at damaging the seal at this point, right?
The shims are super sharp on the edge. They're just stamped, so they got a rolled edge on most of them, and it's super sharp. I mean, like a knife sharp. So when you push it past the sealing surface of your seal, sometimes they'll scratch it and rip it and tear it, and you don't even see it.
Yeah.
You put everything together, put it back in your car, you start her up, and it's dripping.
Yeah, you're gonna know you got a problem.
And that's when you really got a problem. Yeah, you're really mad about that.
So here's this tool that Frank made to install
I just
seals.
made this when I was a kid to install seals.
And then you're just going to make sure that your seal's kind of...
Get it kind of square. And this will draw it in square. This will work. It slides right in.
See, that's a good tool, Frank.
Good enough.
When do you want to start marketing these?
I'm not. A little more push.
Yep. And that's just going to get it the rest of the way in.
Yeah, just a little bit further in.
So here's something I see talked about a lot, and there's no definitive answer. So I'm going to get Frank's definitive answer. So as you can see, I mean, obviously the seal is going to go in a little bit further, but you have the ability to either have the seal flush or in some. And I've always thought that it's supposed to be inboard of the case and not flush with the case. Is that right, Frank?
I don't know what's really right anymore. You know, this damn thing's not reaching. I always install mine flush, a little bit below flush.
And the reason for that's what? Just to give
the reason is there is no reason.
Okay.
On the backside, the sealing surface on the flywheel is radiused. So if you have it sticking too far out, it's gonna
potentially grab the
there's
flywheel.
gonna be a lot of drag on the seal. It'll be touching more of the seal, I guess. If you push it in further, it's only gonna be on the, I would say, cylindrical part, of the flywheel seal. So I don't know if there's a right or a wrong.
How do you normally do it?
I'll just go a little bit below.
Just flush plus a little bit. And that's it.
Flush plus a little bit. I don't know why.
So we'll come back and we're going to get this seal finished installed. And so that's about how Frank likes those seals to fit. Kind of hard to catch on here, but about a fingernail's width inset from the case. That sound about right, Frank?
Yeah. Yeah, like we said, there is no right, no wrong. You know, it's...
Well, Frank's always right, so we do it Frank's way.
I'm sometimes right. But no, just a little bit below surface. You know, 20, 30 thou below surface is good for me.
Okay. So the next step is we're going to put this flywheel on for good this time, yeah?
Yep, we sure are.
And you don't want to forget that little piece right there.
Yeah, you got to put your O-ring on there.
And it's just a little groove right in the flywheel. It just drops right in.
Nothing fancy. Drops right in. And here's the flywheel the seal surface is this. That's where that pink seal is going to be on. So once again, you don't want to put anything dry, especially on a seal.
Yep, a little assembly lube on there is not going to hurt.
Just a little oil. You can put whatever you want on there, really. Just as long as it's some oil on there.
Yeah.
Something. And that's it.
And then it's just the same process as we did before with the shims. We're going to torque the gland nut on.
Yep, slide it on, torque
and
it
the
down.
flywheel's on for good. So we'll come back after we did that. Yep. So Frank,
yes.
Now we're at the point where we're going to start installing pistons and cylinders so that we can establish deck height.
Yes, you have to do this after you do your, well, you don't have to, but you should do this after you do your end play, because if you install your pistons on there, you know, before you do your end play, it creates a bit of a drag. You kind of get a false reading on your end play, so you should do this second.
Gotcha. So now we're at that stage. So you got a piston and cylinder here.
Yep. When they come out of the box, they just slap them together at the factory. They put the rings on for you, and they can be anywhere. And,
right, because there's an orientation you can see.
Yes.
Like
ring
oil.
gaps.
Yeah, oil's going to pass. It could pass through if they're not in the right spot. So what do you do, Frank?
What do I do? So it's pretty basic. It's what everybody else does, really. The standard is like 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock is for your gaps. So you'll do I do the top ring, 10 o'clock, the second ring, 2 o'clock. Just got to find them. And it's not the end of the world. You get them close to 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
But the main point is this. So like your arrow here.
So this is going to be towards the flywheel. Arrow is always towards the flywheel. So this is, I've already pre-designated this one as number 4. So
when you say 10 o'clock, you're talking up here, because if you were to put it down here, oil could potentially sneak out the bottom.
Absolutely. This and the oil control rings. So they also get the same treatment. You know, 10 o'clock, little gap, and then the other one should be at 2 o'clock, wherever it's at. I'll find that and locate that little guy. See, it's already at the bottom.
Yeah.
So if it's at the bottom, it just allows oil to come through. You're going to have wet, oily cylinders. It's going to smoke. It's not going to make power. It's not going to seal.
Yeah, so this is kind of important. If you're putting a motor together, you got to get your ring orientation correct before you slide it into the cylinder here. Because you really only want to do this once. That's why we're doing it now.
It is. And you also got to be aware, too, because, you know, this piston, when it was made, doesn't know if it's a number 4 or it's a number 1. So if it was on a number 1, and the flywheel's over here, you know, it turns over, so it's actually going to be that way.
So you're going to have your rings will be in the right spot if it was for number 4, but not for number 1.
Exactly.
So you're going to orient those rings, and then we're just going to press that into the cylinder with a ring compressor.
Ring compressor.
And then we're going to go on to set deck height. So I'm going to let you do that, and we'll show these guys how it's done.
Okay.
Okay, so now, Frank, you've got the rings all set the way you like them.
Yep, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock stuff, and stagger them back and forth.
Okay.
So after that's done, you got those all located. I use the cheap ring compressors. I set mine just flat, and then I'll regular pair of pliers. Just collapse them nice and tight, so they're all the way tight. So if you look at it, all the rings are compressed into where they're supposed to be.
Yep.
And you always insert these through the bottom, because the bottom of the cylinder has a big chamfer, nice lead. So if they were to creep out a little bit, this will kind of retain them and keep them going back into the cylinder.
Gotcha.
So there's nothing fancy.
You're just basically going to lay it flush.
Just locate it. You always want to look at your wrist pins to the side of the piston where it's going to be upside. I use a little hammer. I just tap it down in. You really only need to get roughly to this point.
Like right where the wrist pin's just sort of at the edge of the cylinder,
It's about flush right there, and you're there.
And that's it. That's all there is to it.
That's it. So yeah, it's like
It's like a C-clamp.
it's not even a $10 tool.
Yeah.
But it does the job. Or you can use like hose clamps. Old school guys use hose clamps.
Yeah.
But
So next step is now we're going to start installing one of these and setting up deck height.
yes, I've already done the other ones. Save
top.
time. So yeah, we'll slide one onto. I always use number one. Check deck height so that we can determine compression ratio.
Okay, so we'll reset and we'll show you guys that in a second. Okay, Frank, so we're ready to install one piston and cylinder and get some deck height. So what do we do now?
Okay, so grab a piston. At this point, they don't know if they're 1, 2, 3, or 4, but so I grabbed number one.
Right.
So we're going to trial fit. Just slide the thing on there.
Yeah, just so people understand, this isn't the final install of this. We're doing this specifically to set up deck height, get our compression ratio determined. That's what we're doing this for. So you've got one wrist pin.
Yes. Yeah, and I just slide it in there. I'm not using the clip because I'm only checking deck height.
Right.
I'm not really doing anything. So slide that on there. Slide this down. Slide it into position.
Yeah, you're doing this like you're installing it for good, because that's how you're going to determine your deck height.
Yeah, with no sealant or anything at this point. So we got it on there. Then we're going to clamp it down.
And that's your measuring tool, yeah?
This is kind of my measuring plate. Just holding it in position, really.
So what you're trying to create is a flat surface between the piston and what you're going to be measuring with.
Well, you need to hold it all the way down, secure, so that you can check the clearance between the top surface of the barrel and the top surface of your piston. That gives you your deck height.
And the reason you're getting deck height is what, for people that don't know?
Well, deck height is the volume, or is the height, is the distance between the top of the cylinder and the top of the piston. What that does is create volume that you calculate into determining your final compression ratio.
Right. So I guess it's just so most people understand. Where this piston comes out of the cylinder, there's a space. Or sometimes the piston's actually outside of the cylinder. So you need to adjust for that, because otherwise you're going to have this piston crashing into the valves that are in the head if it's too high, if your compression's too high, or if it's too low, you're not going to have any power.
Yes. So
you're trying to manipulate that space there.
You can manipulate this space by using shims between the case and the cylinder. In this particular situation, we just set it at top dead center where the crank is supposed to be. And then this is the way I do it. And plus or minus 5, well, maybe less than 10 thousandths, it's not going to change much on your compression ratio.
Right.
5 or 10 thousandths. You want to keep, I think they say 40-ish, 50 clearance between. You want top dead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You want your deck height 40 or 50 thousandths, so it doesn't actually contact your head.
Right.
If it's, they say poor materials or whatever, that's fine. 40, it's fine. I've run less. Good stuff you can run less. It doesn't. Your crank's not flexing like old welded cranks used to do.
Right.
These current cranks are they're bitching.
Yeah. So what do you do next, right?
So I set it at top dead center, and you can use a bunch of different ways to check your height. You can use feeler gauges and all that. It's a pain in the neck using feeler gauges either to get your dimension. if you're accurate enough, you can get this in there, kind of square it up, and then slide it in there, and then check your number,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say that's ish.
Okay.
So my number came out to 517, 517 thousandths. What I've already done was I measured this plate, and it's 457 thousandths.
Okay.
Subtract 457 from 517. Subtract that, and that's going to give you your deck height. You're going to use that deck height measurement into the calculation to determine your compression ratio.
And that's what we're going to do right now.
It sounds complicated, but it's really
It's real simple. So we'll do that, and we'll be right back.
Right on.
Okay, Frank, so we're back. So here's what we figured out. Or I'm going to let you explain what we figured out, Frank.
So our deck height, we came up with 60 thousandths, which is totally safe, in the world of, not crashing, not having your cylinder hit your piston hit your head. So in doing the calculations at 60 thousandths, it came out to 8.7 to 1
For compression.
for compression ratio.
Which, if you were running a hot street car, that's probably
It's no
okay.
problem. Yeah, I drive my regular car on 10 to 1, but I have to run fuel,
Yeah.
which is horribly expensive, and it's impractical, But if you're going to drive it, you want to keep it a little bit lower than that.
Yeah. So for this one, again, this is for my Manx. I don't really need to have all that extra compression for extra horsepower. I kind of just want to
cool. Want to live a little bit longer.
Yeah. So to get it down a little bit, what are we going to do?
We're going to add a 20 thou shim.
Okay.
So
And that's what these are.
Yep, that's it. 80 thousandths is going to be our CCs and
Our deck height. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to give us an 8.3. Be drivable, be a little more mellow, won't get as hot.
Yep.
Won't have to run race gas.
Good. So that's an easy solution.
Yeah,
so
super
again, because when you're building these, you have to determine your deck height just for that reason. If we had just assembled it the way it was right here, we'd have 8.7 to 1 compression, which is totally fine, but not optimal for what we're going to do. So we're going to stick one of these shims behind each cylinder, drop the compression down a little bit to 8.3, and then we're good to go.
Yeah, you lose a little bit of horsepower, but, can't have everything. Right?
Yeah.
You can't have a top fuel car on the street.
No, it's a delicate balance. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do that now, and we'll show you guys how that's done. Okay, now we're back. As you can see, these are all sealed up, and the spacer's in there and sealed up too. So now Frank's going to install it. Yep. So what do you do, Frank?
I put a little oil on where the wrist pin goes, the wrist pin bores.
And you can see you got one clip installed already. That's on the outside because
that's actually on the inside.
On the inside.
It's just hard to get to once they're assembled on there.
And now we're pretty much ready to start sliding these things on, huh?
Yep. Slide them in position.
And just a little bit right there inside the rod. Yeah. Let me come over to this side.
It's never going to hurt. There's not a lot to it. The case is clean. These are all siliconed up. I like the black RTV silicone. It's high heat. Seal that sucker to the case.
So you're going to get it to that point so you can slide that wrist pin through and then continue down with the cylinder.
Yeah, it slides right in.
That's it.
And then we get our other clips, wrist pin retainer clips.
Right here, dude.
Yeah. Install those, and then we'll just move and do all the rest of them.
Yep. So you guys will be able to watch that happen right now.
So one of the things that I do, a lot of people do, is there's a direction on these circlips. When they're stamped out, they're just stamped out of a sheet of metal. There's a soft edge, which is where the die came down and pushed it out, and there's a sharp edge. It makes sense to me and a lot of other guys that when you install them, you want the rolled soft edge in, and you want the sharp edge out. Because if this wrist pin ever wants to walk out, it's going to have a hard time pushing this sharp edge through the machined groove in the piston.
Right, as opposed to keeping that soft edge.
So if it's a soft edge, it'll roll by a groove, like the groove in my finger. If it's in there and it's soft edge, it'll come out. But whereas if it's a sharp, edge, it'll kind of hook and it won't really go through that.
Yeah, so that's a good tip right there.
It's a nice little tip. Yeah.
So now you've got 2 cylinders installed, and to keep them in place, you're gonna put
So
the
yeah,
cylinder in.
I've already done the 1 and the 2, and they're siliconed on, and they're just kind of pushed in position. But when I was to go around to the other side, I'm going to have to rotate the engine. I don't want to shove these things loose and have all the seal breaking loose and just making a huge mess. So I always just shove a head on really quick, just to, whoops,
There you
just to locate or to keep the pistons in
place.
in their place. Nothing, and I don't torque it or anything.
You're just using it to stop things from
I'm just
moving.
using it to stop them coming off. And then, you know, when they dry, then I'll pull this thing off and I'll put the cool tin in and I'll set up pushrod tubes and all that stuff.
Okay, cool. So we'll come back and do the other side after this, Frank.
Yep.
Okay, now we're at a very important part, Frank.
Never forget these. If you don't put these in, the cooling air that's going to be coming down from the fan shroud will come through the center of this and just blow out into the atmosphere or through the sides. What these do is deflects the air that's coming through the center around the bottom of your cylinders and keeps the bottom sides cool too.
Yeah, so you have to run these, and they just snap right in there. So we're going to snap these in, and we'll come back to the next step.
Yeah, assemble the JC pushrod tubes. I'd been a skeptic for a long time about these adjustable pushrod tubes, but these things are bitching. They don't leak. They're a pain in the neck to install.
Yeah, this is all we use anymore.
But that's a good thing. Yeah, they're great. They're great. I got nothing bad to say about these things.
Yep.
So,
pretty
yeah,
much every one of our motors, this is what we use.
Yep. And they haven't leaked, haven't given us any issues.
Yep, that's why we stick with
really
it.
Nice, yeah.
So you're going to assemble these, and we're going to watch. So we installed the cool tins underneath. Frank assembled the pushrod tubes. There they are, JC pushrod tubes, and now we're going to get those on.
Yep.
And there's no easy way.
There's no real easy way. I kind of left the head a little bit loose, so it'll push up a little, but you gotta compress them and slide them underneath. It's tough. What you can't have is the gasket being pushrod tube seal being cockeyed or not straight.
Because that's where your leaks come from.
Yeah, when you slide it through, sometimes it'll bite the edge of the seal and push it off. But a little bit of practice, a lot of hand strength. But I mean, you really get what you pay for with these things. They are that good.
Yeah, I just don't even see a need to use the original stock style ones anymore. These are just so much better.
I used the original ones for so long, and they're okay. These are good.
Cool. We're just going to get the other two on, do the other side, and then we're going to start the fun stuff, which is
Geometry.
All right, we'll check back with you guys in a minute. Okay, so pushrod tubes are in, heads are torqued down, and now we get to do the fun part, Frank.
Yep, rocker geometry.
And there's no quick way to do this. It's just you got to really take your time and do this right.
A whole lot of trial and error. Bolt them on, adjust it.
So we're using 125 rockers, and you get a little bit more out of the cam by using these, basically. That's the idea behind a ratio rocker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get an easier valve train. If you get a cam that's designed to use ratio rockers, it's just easier on your stuff. The travel is multiplied through the rocker rather than lift of the cam, so it's easier on everything.
Yep, so we're going to do these. So right now you're just installing the cups. The cups for the adjusters right there, yep.
Then we're going to set up the geometry. Everybody's heard it. Just you want the pushrod to be straight with the adjuster at half lift. But that just takes time and adjustment, time and adjustment, time and adjustment.
Yeah, and it's not just a simple bolt them on and go.
No.
We've got an adjustable push rod right in here, and that's going to help determine what length our push rods need to be, because you can't just drop a standard length push rod down in here and hope that it works. You actually have to cut to length push rods, which is what we're going to do.
Shim the rockers out a little bit to the point where, where you're straight at half lift.
Yep, that's the whole point.
Shimming and adjusting.
Shimming and adjusting, right. And we've also got lash caps right here that we're going to run on the valve tips. So we're going to keep assembling these, and then we'll show you how it's done. So now we're bolting on the rocker shaft so that we can start setting up valve geometry.
Yep.
And we'll get all set up here. There's a few things we got to do first. Most of it's not really interesting to watch, but we'll come back when we're ready to go.
Sounds good.
Okay, so now you can see we've got the dial indicator installed. We've got the adjustable push rod tube in there. And Frank's going to start setting up our rocker geometry. And what do we do now, Frank?
Well, I started off with running 2 shims underneath the rocker stand and adjusting the valve as if you were going to run it. And we'll rotate the engine to the point where it's at half lift. And we'll have a look at what it looks like where the adjuster interfaces with the push rod. They should at half lift be parallel or in line with each other.
Okay, so that's the whole point, is trying to get that happening. So
with this here, we've got 500 and it came out to like 503 lift. You go halfway, that's going to be 250, 251 and a half, and that's we're going to have a look at it. So we'll rotate it now and give you a look at what it looks like. Off by 2 thousandths or so.
yeah, so you're looking at this dial indicator right here.
Yep. So I'm going to turn it around until it goes 100, 200, whoops, 251.
Yep. So that's basically your half lift.
That's pretty damn close to half lift, no matter what you think. And then come from my side and look at, it just rotated back.
Oh,
sorry.
it moved.
Sorry. 1, 250. It'll do that from time to time. So we're pretty.
That's it
close.
right there.
So you look at this, the adjusting screw with the push rod, and they're not in line.
You can see that. You can see that they're not in line.
So you adjust that by adding or removing shims to the rocker stand.
So that's what we got to do now. So
And then
everything
adjust
that
the
we
push
just
rod.
did is going to come back out now.
Yeah, we can take it all apart and reset everything.
All right, so let's do that, and then we'll show that. Okay, so now we've adjusted the shims in there and gone back to half lift, and you can see push rod is almost completely straight in the adjuster, which is what we want, right, Frank?
Yep, as long as they're in line, you're set. I took out about 35 thousandths of the rocker shim, so yeah, it went pretty easy actually.
So now we can determine push rod length.
Yep.
Cut push rods and call this part done.
Yep.
Sweet. All right, let's do that. Here's our cut to length push rods. These are Manton push rods that we use. We've already set these up and cut them to length of the adjustable. We're gonna have Frank press the ends in right here, which you don't need to sit there and watch. And we're gonna install those into the motor, which you've already seen us do. And then I think we're gonna have a long block. Don't you think, Frank?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do that.
Real soon.
Well, Frank, what do you think?
Pretty good. Went together really well and easy. No real issues.
I'm excited. I mean, it's basically long blocked. We're going to spare you guys the having to watch us put carburetors on it and cooling tin, all the stuff that's kind of boring. You should know how to do it already. And if you don't watch this channel, because we're way past that. But Frank's going to finish this up, turn it into a turnkey. You probably aren't going to see it until it's on the run stand.
Yep.
But
soon though.
Yeah, pretty soon. But Frank, thanks, dude. You did an awesome job. I think these guys got a lot out of it. And
that's what I do. Yeah, I hope it helps everybody. There's a lot more that goes into it, little finicky things, but this is good basics.
Yeah, definitely. I
Solid
agree.
stuff.
So we got a short deadline. As you know, we got to get back to it and get this thing built. But I'm going to leave this with Frank, and we'll see you guys soon.
Right on.